Today on Forbes, will Mamdani's proposed millionaire tax save or sink New York City? What would be the real result of a new millionaire tax in New York City? Billionaire Bill Ackman, founder and CEO of Pershing Square Capital Management, and a Trump and Cuomo backer, suggests the answer is that wealthy taxpayers will flee. In a post on X, Ackman lamented Zohran Mamdani's Democratic primary win in the New York City mayoral race by stating, quote, "New York City under Mamdani is about to become much more dangerous and economically unviable." Ackman's post, which has garnered more than 4 million views, was a direct response to Mamdani's surprise Democratic primary win in the Big Apple. The 33-year-old Democrat garnered 44% of the vote, running on a progressive agenda focused on making life in New York City more affordable. Funding that agenda will take money, and Mamdani has a plan to raise revenues without tapping the middle class. In addition to bumping up the corporate tax, Mamdani has proposed a 2% tax on what his campaign calls, quote, "the wealthiest 1% of New Yorkers, those earning above $1 million annually." His platform estimates this so-called millionaire tax will raise $4 billion annually to help fund projects like universal free early childcare, free bus rides, and more affordable housing. The numbers, Mamdani says, mean that the tax would impact about 34,000 households. On his website, he says, quote, "This tiny share of the city population takes home 35% of all income earned by New York City residents." That same 1%, he explains, also benefited from a tax cut under President Trump's 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which cut the top marginal rate from 39.6% to 37%. The proposed surtax, the 2% extra tax rate would only apply to earnings over $1 million, would, Mamdani suggests, make New York's tax more progressive. The federal income tax system, he points out, is progressive. With a progressive tax, rates go up as income increases, but everyone pays the same rate for the same income. That means that you pay the same 10% as every other person until you hit the top of the bracket. Then you pay 15% on that income until you hit the top of that bracket, and so on. New York State has a similar system. However, Mamdani claims that the New York City income tax is essentially a flat tax of 3.9%. He explains on his website, quote, "Whether you make $50,000 or $5 million, you pay practically the same tax rate." That's true, sort of. New York City's tax rates start at 3.078% and only climb to 3.876%, a small uptick. In addition, the brackets are somewhat compressed, climbing quickly at lower rates and then leveling off once taxable income exceeds $50,000. But that still doesn't technically qualify as a pure flat tax. Under Mamdani's plan, the tax would be tacked on at the top, taking an additional 2% of incomes over $1 million, making the tax more progressive. Mamdani says the plan will work, pointing to millionaire taxes in states like Massachusetts. In November 2022, Massachusetts voters approved the Fair Share Amendment, a 4% surtax on personal income exceeding $1 million. The tax raised $1.8 billion in its first 3 quarters of collections, with revenues funding school lunches, transportation, and education. Some feared that the tax might cause ultra-wealthy residents to flee. While Massachusetts residents did leave the state in 2021, the year the bill passed, most were upper-middle-class taxpayers, not millionaires. That's consistent with historical data. Massachusetts has been losing individuals across all income levels since 2009, with more concentrated losses among middle and high-income earners. One reason may be housing costs. As those shot up, lower-cost housing in other states, combined with remote work opportunities, may have wooed middle-class residents away from the Bay State. As for those millionaires, an analysis of data from the IRS's Statistics of Income program revealed that the number of tax returns that reported an adjusted gross income of $1 million or more in Massachusetts grew by 36% between 2018 and 2022. Tax stats from the IRS for 2023 were not available at the time of the report. Wealth data from WealthX also indicated that the number of millionaires in Massachusetts rose by 38.6% between 2022 and 2024, while their collective wealth increased from $1.6 trillion to $2.2 trillion. For full coverage, check out Kelly Phillips Erb's piece on forbes.com. This is Kieran Meadows from Forbes. Thanks for tuning in.